I am blessed with a very special guest. Um, I got connected with this brother through the wife of another show host or show participant. Um, I'm pretty excited to talk to this gentleman because his story was one of those stories I needed to hear when I was making the move to write about what was going on at the shelter that I worked at, and also to just make that move and get up out of there because it was getting too dangerous. I'm speaking today with Mr. Chris Smalls.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Right now, you're not in California, but you have been to California.
I have been to California.
What was
I'm
your
coming
first?
back.
What was your first impression when you finally saw it? Was it less palm trees than you thought?
It was colder than I expected. To be honest with you, to be honest with you, that's what I thought. I thought I was going to get off and it's going to feel like, like something similar to Florida. Like I go to Florida a lot, and I found out that when the sun go down, you might
Get your
want to
coat.
put on a jacket. I was like, oh, okay.
Get your coat,
So
brother.
yeah,
Did you first come to the Bay Area or Los Angeles first?
I spent my first half of my trip in Los Angeles in SoCal, and
Okay.
then I spent a few weeks in the Bay Area.
You call
I
it
actually been
SoCal like you've been there,
all right.
like a
Like I
pro,
had
like a
to,
pro. That's a pro. That's a pro move.
I had to, yeah, because I was getting called out. I was saying, I was in when I was
South
living in,
California.
yeah, I was like I'm going to
Yeah,
Southern California. Like no, say SoCal. And then when I
yeah.
was in the Bay Area, I kept saying I'm going to San Francisco, and they were like, no, call it Frisco. I gotta call it Frisco. I
Mm-hmm.
can't call it San Fran or San Fran. They were like,
For the
that's like a
city,
pet peeve. So
did people tell you the city? Are you a basketball fan at all?
I am a huge one.
Okay, so the Warriors got the jersey that say the city on it, and that's why,
Yeah.
because we call San Francisco the city.
Got you.
So that's what that's
Yeah,
all
they
about.
they were like, don't say San Fran. You gotta say Frisco.
No, no, somebody just wrote this whole thing about how
I
there's
seen it.
racial. You saw that? I was like,
I
man,
seen it.
just whatever. I was kind
Right.
of like, people in San Francisco ain't the same people in San Francisco that was there when I was growing up. So
Exactly. That's what I heard too. So
it's a different place. Now, where are you from?
I'm from New Jersey, born and
Is
raised.
what city?
I was born in Passaic, New Jersey, and I
Hmm.
was raised in Hackensack.
What is Hackensack like for those that have never been to Hackensack?
Well,
How would you
same
describe it?
same thing. It's not the same when I grew up, but
Hmm.
it's a pretty large city.
Hmm.
Um, it's one of the first cities that you'll see as you cross over from New York City. When you cross
Hmm.
that George Washington Bridge, Hackensack is like a major city of North New Jersey. Um, Very diverse community, and it's it's very expensive to live there now. So I can't afford to live there now. So that tells you what type of city it evolved into.
Was it like a middle class suburb when you were growing up?
It was definitely uh you have your one side of town. I came
Hmm.
from uptown, so I'm from
Okay.
uptown. A lot of my friends are from downtown,
Hmm.
and like downtown would be like your that'd be more of your urban project area,
Gotcha.
housing projects. Uptown is more middle class,
Hmm.
and then you have the part of town where always there's your rich and wealthy people that's well off. So I grew up in a single family home. My mom, she always bust her tail. She had multiple jobs and she went to school. I was the oldest child, and um, yeah, she did the best she could to keep us out of danger and keep us out of the streets. but I
Hmm.
was hard headed. I didn't listen. I didn't listen to my mom very much, and my father didn't help either. He wasn't there, so
Gotcha.
he's been incarcerated majority of my life, but still
Okay.
is.
Oh shit. Um, in Jersey or is he in New York?
Oh, he's been all over. he's in. He is. Man, he's just say he's a real convict, but
A well traveled, well
well
traveled.
traveled. He's been. I've been to various prisons in my life.
Hmm.
As a kid growing up.
Hmm.
I've been in some of the worst prisons. I know they got San Quentin over there. We have Rikers Island, and I've
Yeah,
been to
that's a
Rikers
bad
Island.
one.
I've been to Rikers Island quite a few times
To see pops.
to see my dad.
Oof. Um, I definitely watched that thing of, oh God, what's the young brother's name? Khalif Browder,
Yep.
the kid from New York that got put in Rikers. That was rough. They haven't closed it yet, have they?
No, they haven't. I was actually out there a couple months ago
Hmm.
protesting with him, with his brother.
To
So
close Rikers.
yeah, we were advocating for that, and the
Hmm.
nurses, the New York Nurses Association, um, they worked there. They weren't protected as well, so there's
Hmm.
multiple reasons why we were out there. But I had the pleasure to meet his brother, and um, humble dude, and I'm glad that he's still out here advocating for that.
Now, when would you say you got, I hate to use the term radicalized, but radicalized to want to be part of a movement? Was it one of those things where it was like, I just got to do what's right?
Yeah, um, it happened 6 months ago when I got fired at
Hmm.
Amazon. I was just a concerned supervisor. I'm a father. I have
Hmm.
twins, and when COVID
Double
19 came
trouble.
in, yeah, and when COVID-19 came into play, um, I had to protect myself and my family
Hmm.
first and
Hmm.
foremost, and that was my number one thing, just to try to protect my family and what was the company going to do for single parents. I'm a single parent.
Hmm.
Um, they had no solution, so it kind of forced me to take further action.
Hmm.
I didn't expect none of this. I didn't expect to be a public figure. I didn't expect to be all over major media.
Hmm.
All I wanted to do was just get our workers protected. I was a supervisor. I've been
Hmm.
with the company since 2015, and my concern was my employees that worked underneath me. I wanted to make sure they were protected as well. And Amazon dropped the ball. So when they dropped the ball, it forced me to become radical and
Hmm.
hold a protest in front of my building.
Hmm.
And that's when my life changed forever. 2 hours after I did that protest on March 30th, I was fired publicly. And then a week later, Jeff Bezos himself, the richest man in the world, had a conversation, a meeting actually. He had a meeting with his top general counsel and some other top VPs of the
Hmm.
company. And that conversation got leaked. And in that conversation, there was some racist remarks and how they were going to run a smear campaign on me to be in a
Hmm.
better PR position. So that's kind of how I got catapulted into the spotlight. And ever since then, I've just been uh, continue to fight the good fight.
They said some pretty horrible things about you in that leak conversation.
Yeah, they said, I'm not smart or articulate, and
Hmm.
they should make me the face of the whole Amazon unionizing organization,
Hmm.
which I
Hmm.
had nothing to do with. But thank you for giving me that title. Ironically, and they said they'll be in a better PR position if they smear me
Hmm.
opposed to answering questions about health and safety concerns. It's just crazy to me.
Somebody just commented, it sounds pretty inaccurate. So there you go. Um, can you see the comments on the screen, brother?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, what would young high school age Chris think of grown ass twin daughter having ass Chris right now doing the shit that he's doing? Would he be like, man, you was tripping? Or would he be like, word?
Nah, to be honest with you, it would be like word because I always been different growing up.
Hmm.
I always been different from everybody. I always been somewhat of a leader, a natural born leader.
Hmm.
Never a follower of anything. I'm
Hmm.
always my own person, and um, I used to do. I used to be a rapper back
Hmm.
in the day. When I was 19, I was on the music scene heavy over here on the East Coast, especially in New Jersey, doing a lot of shows. I even did a show with. Well, I did a hosting with Meek Mill, and that
Hmm.
was like the biggest plateau for me as an independent artist.
Hmm.
And I did a lot of things that could have possibly catapulted me into some type of music career, but I just got married young, and that kind of strayed me away from it.
I know the
Um,
feeling.
yeah,
I know the
so
feeling.
I pretty much gave up that, and I jumped into the workforce. And when I did that, I just became a full blown family man, trying to take
Hmm.
care of my wife and kids at the time.
So you went from, so I got married at 21 and had a kid
Same, same.
at it, like I think I got married on August 22nd of 1998, and my daughter was born August 25th of 1998. One
Yeah,
of those deals.
I got married 21. I was
Hmm.
married for 7.5 years, and we got divorced a little over a year and a half ago.
Sorry to hear
And
about that.
no, no, don't worry about it. It was probably
It-
it was meant to be.
it's still frustrating and difficult and not fun to navigate. And I
Yeah,
feel
it
you though.
was
I feel you though. I feel you.
definitely a trial in my life, and
Hmm.
but it was meant to happen, and we still respect each other as parents. That's it, co-parents.
So you was on track to be the next hot MC, right?
At one point, yes. At one point in time. At one point in time.
And now I see these flyers with you that look like you about to drop a fire mixtape, but it's like a speaking engagement.
Right. So my it's funny because my whole family and all the friends that grew up with me, they knew me
Hmm.
as being a former musician. They're like, well, we guess your voice was meant for something else,
Hmm.
besides music. So
Hmm.
um, that's where we at right now. I would love to get back into the music game, but right now I have a mission to complete. So that's what I'm focusing on.
And your name actually has come up a lot in the shows that I do when I ask people, like intellectuals and professors and stuff. I always ask this question: is like, what is the future of the left? And I asked a cat named, maybe you've spoken with him. I don't know you. I know you speak with a lot of cats. Excuse me. His name is Douglas Lane, and he's a publisher of a company called Zero Books.
Yes, that's my guy. Yeah.
And he was like, I think the future is cats like Chris Smalls, um, and labor movements. And it made me re-examine your journey even more, because I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, you tell me how you feel. On the left, there's not a lot of us. I'm a regular dude from a regular hood. My neighborhood is not much different from what you described.
Right.
And to the Amazon brass of the world, I, like you, am equally inarticulate. I don't have the degrees behind my name. I'm a junior college dropout. So it was interesting for him to say that, because he also has a platform, Douglas Lane, where he's got constant professors and these dudes with all these titles behind their names. And he's like, no, the future of the left is in y'all.
Yeah.
How does that
That's my
make
guy.
you feel?
Um, you know, I feel empowered by it.
Hmm.
Obviously,
Hmm.
I had to quickly learn and embrace the position I was blessed to be in. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this don't happen to the average person, like you say. It doesn't just
Mm-hmm.
happen. What happened to me being fired and being catapulted into the spotlight, you know, I went from partying in the club to being on Dr. Phil. Um, that just doesn't happen, and this is facts. You know, this is straight facts. I don't, you know, it don't happen for no
Mm-hmm.
reason, and I know I could easily do what I, you know, take the
Mm-hmm.
easy way out,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
do my legal actions against the
Mm-hmm.
company, and fade to black. You know, I have
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
multi-million-dollar settlement or lawsuit. I can just did that, and y'all can just forgot about me. Y'all have read about me and forgot about me. But I
Mm-hmm.
chose a different route. I chose to continue fighting,
Mm-hmm.
continue listening to workers and organizing. And I founded my own organization. And now I have this platform where I'm trying to share it with everybody that is like me and you from
Mm-hmm.
our communities, because
Mm-hmm.
we don't get this opportunity often. And
Mm-hmm.
Doug is right. You know, there isn't enough of us on the left. Um, and we are the way of the future for sure. This you can tell if president if this president could become president like Trump,
Mm-hmm.
that means anybody can. If you think about it, if you think about it, that means we all have a fair chance. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't want to say I'm not saying that I'd become president one day, but still I can't even rule it out. To be honest
Mm-hmm.
with you, you know, there's been people that would love to have tried to write me in this year's ballot, but it's like, you know, that's just further down the line,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to, like I said, I want to complete my mission. My mission is to help the workers of Amazon and help change some policies for all essential workers,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever doors that open, you know, I'm just willing to embrace it and hopefully be leading people in the right direction. That's what I try to do.
It's
Lead people in the right
interesting
direction.
because after your story kind of broke, I remember seeing an Amazon commercial where they were talking about how they were going through all the proper protocols and they got cats in there washing their hands. And
Yeah,
can you just break down? Because you were there for what, like 5 years?
yeah, almost 5 years.
So you was there like you were. And before I even ask you this question, let's just kind of break this down. Um, this is I can only speak for myself. I don't know if it's the same for you. I kind of got a family that's still a little old fashioned to the point where they're like, they want you to work a job forever,
Yeah, yeah,
and they think that you're going to retire at said job, right?
yeah,
And like you were there for 5 years. That's a good amount of time because you're not that old now.
right.
So this is a good chunk of your adult life. You've invested in this place, and it kind of becomes what you are. Like I am Chris, the dude that does the blah 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 at Amazon. I'm the Amazon guy, and trying to inspire your coworkers is really hard when cats are like so focused on their own shit,
Yep.
right? Like I can't really be fucking with you right now and this fuck the job shit, man, because I got to pay my rent and I got blah 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 and I got to pay off this ticket and da 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 da.
Yep.
How were you able to? How are you able to see beyond that shit yourself? Real talk. And how are you able to get other people on board with you? Because I want to know, and I think people need to know because that's
Yeah,
my big thing that I run into.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely went through it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like you said, I was invested. I opened up 3 buildings for this company.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got promoted once. My
Mm-hmm.
first year, less than 6 months, I was promoted up to a supervisor position.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it only takes 2 years with Amazon from the starting point to become a salaried manager.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon has over 1 million+ employees worldwide,
Mm-hmm.
and only 8%. There's 1 million+ workforce. Only 8% is African American management.
Mm-hmm.
So the higher you get in the chain,
Mm-hmm.
the more disproportionate it becomes.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized after 4 years of being in the same position, I was in the same position for 4 years. It only takes 2 years to become my boss, who I used to
Mm-hmm.
train.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't trying to promote me up,
Mm-hmm.
obviously because of obvious reason. Look who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
I have a backbone. I didn't fit their culture. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't fit their type of culture where I'm a yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. I'm gonna do what you tell me to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you ain't taking care of my people, I ain't fucking with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to set the tone when I came in to any building, and I had any type of control over my department. I would definitely set a culture where you work for me, you work hard for me, I'm gonna go hard for you. And everybody respected that. My employees respected the fact that, Chris is the supervisor that you want to work for.
Mm-hmm.
And Amazon knew that. They knew that I had workers' power back then. And they would never want to see me on the same level as a white manager. We would clash all the time, and we did.
Mm-hmm.
So to be honest with you, I was mentally drained by the time COVID came. I was actually trying to find my way out of the company. I knew I wasn't going to get promoted. I opened up 3 buildings. When I mean opened up, I mean I was one of the first employees for 3 major buildings in the tri-state area: New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
Jesus.
3 different states I opened up these buildings for. I trained thousands of their employees. So I was invested. Hundreds of their managers that are now ops managers and general managers and seniors. So it was like they keep taking from me, but I wasn't getting shit in return.
Mm-hmm.
So I was done. It made it easy for me to decide to take action against them when COVID came into play, because I was already 1 foot out the door. I was ready to take my 5-year resignation and my 5-year buyout. But I just, when COVID happened, I was like, I can't quit now. Where the hell am I going to go? So yeah, it made it easier for me to make that decision, take that stance. As far as my coworkers and trying to get workers underneath me, that's a whole nother ballgame. You're right. Amazon targets the hood. That's just no sugarcoating. Every one of their facilities, and y'all can do your own research, every one of their facilities are within 10 miles of the nearest hood. That's just what it is. Every one of their facilities nationwide are in an impoverished area where they hire directly from the hood. And there's no knock on that, because I love the fact that they do give everybody opportunity. But just think about the people I'm working with. I don't work with murderers. I don't work with prostitutes. I don't work with, you name it, drug dealers, shooters, everything. And I'm getting these people to be productive because I relate to them. A white manager that comes in with a 4-year degree trying to tell somebody from the hood what to do all the time doesn't add up, right? It's not going to work. So they needed me. There's been times when my white boss, would come to me like, Chris, I need you to go talk to those people over there. And I'll look, and there'd be a group of black dudes. And they're
You mean the black people?
The black dudes. Oh, okay, you need me because he's afraid. He's afraid to go tell them to go to another location. But they know they respect me. They're going to listen to me. And that's when I realized, like, shit is fucked up. And just think about now, COVID came into play. And I'm not going to get people from the hood to quit their job. This is their income. This is the way they look legit. This is the way they, you know what I'm saying? Stay out of harm's way. Stay out of the streets. This is the way of them getting a second chance. Some of them been incarcerated. Some of them get second chances. I'm not going to be able to get them to walk out and say, fuck Amazon. I didn't. I didn't. And the few people that I got, I just had to go. I had to outsmart the company to put this whole thing off. I had to outsmart them, which I did. I always had to stay 2 steps ahead of them. I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of people to come out. So the day of my action, I checked the weather. I said it's going to be 70 degrees. And everybody that works at Amazon knows it's solitary confinement for 10 hours. When you're in that building, you You don't got no cell phone. You at your
Mm-hmm.
station for 10 hours a day. You get 2 15-minute breaks, and you get that 30-minute half-hour lunch. That 30-minute half-hour lunch for a 10-hour, sometimes 12-hour shift, that's everything to you.
Was
And
y'all
on a
getting
nice,
overtime?
yeah, we was on mandatory overtime too. So we were doing 11-hour days at the time. So that 30-minute break is everything now. You want to go outside the building. You see this dark, gloomy warehouse all day
Mm-hmm.
long. You want to go outside on a nice day and enjoy your meal. And I knew that. I knew that. So I said, let me plan my walkout around lunchtime. Perception is everything. The media can't come onto the property. The media can't they can't come inside the building. They can't come to the parking lot. They have to
Mm-hmm.
shoot from a distance. And I knew that. So when I planned the walkout, I gave the world what they wanted to see. People walking out, and about 12:30 in the afternoon, 50 to 60 people walked out of that building. And I protested at the same time. They don't know. They still don't know how many people was involved. They still
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure it out. If you look at certain articles, they say, oh, only 8 people. Oh, only 15. Oh, only 11. They don't even know. Because I blended it in with our lunchtime, and perception is everything. I gave the world a walkout. They had a helicopter flying over. So all they see is people walking out of this building. And
Mm-hmm.
there you go. I sparked this revolution. And yeah, here I am.
It's interesting because I had I wouldn't say the same conditions. I had some kind of fucked up work conditions where I just left my place at a shelter here in Oakland, one of the emergency shelters we had, which is like these hotels. And I remember we were having issues because they weren't telling us when people were testing positive for COVID, like coworkers.
Yeah, the same thing.
So yeah, I know that's what kind of pushed you over the edge, right? And that for me pushed me over the edge where it's like, well, this is a fucking problem. And I remember like telling other coworkers, like, dude, they're not even telling us. I found out on accident that this brother had COVID,
Right.
coworker had COVID, and I'm like, I remember talking to a coworker, and I'm like, this shit is fucked up because they'll kill you and not feel anything about it. And you got kids, the person I was talking to.
Yeah.
And they later told another coworker, because they was in the life. They were a prostitute, and they had got beat up real bad. And that was just their life. They finally got off dope. And similar to what you're saying about trying to hire these kind of disparate individuals. And she was like, this is the best job I'm gonna get. Like, it's not gonna get better for me. Like, this
Right.
is it, and I can't really buck that.
Right. So that's and the company knows that. They target these communities on purpose. They know that these people don't have much options, and
Mhm.
Amazon pays pretty well. That I can't knock. They pay pretty well. They give you certain benefits and perks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like dangling, blood money. That's what I was calling it back then, and it still is, because they gave us the $2 hero pay, and they was giving us all these bonuses, $500 here.
Mm-hmm.
You come to work, $1,000 if you sign up now on the
Mm-hmm.
spot, because they need the workers to replace the ones that are staying home, like myself. Or it's only to replace you once you force your vets to quit. A lot of people I've known quit, left the company, and Amazon reports to the media, oh, Amazon's hiring 175,000 people. And we're praising it like, oh, yes, they're giving everybody job opportunities. But nobody asking why. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
they're doing this in the middle of a pandemic. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
good thing. It's a replacement. I call it
Mm-hmm.
replacement. They just replacing the ones that are quitting, replacing the ones that have medical conditions at home,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that are not coming to work anymore. And that's exactly what we did. So this man don't profit $88 billion off of selling toilet tissue. It's common sense. It's like common sense. It's so fucking crazy how
Mm-hmm.
you break it down. It's like, really, how did y'all allow this man to do this? Like, he doesn't profit off of selling essential items. He's lying straight to the public.
Mhm.
They told the public that they changed their inventory to only sell essential items. They didn't do none of that shit. What they
Mhm.
did was they price gouged.
Mhm.
They price gouged by 1,000%, and then they made sales and deals on their Amazon owned products, and then they got rid of all the other sellers. They did some really foul shit.
Mhm.
It's criminal what they did. People have died in the very building that I worked at. And all, like you said, all they did was send them a thank you and sorry for your
Wow.
loss. Sorry for your loss.
Wow.
That's it.
So I know you said, wow, somebody died. I know you said that in another thing I saw, you said that somebody had got sick and it was like a person you rode to work with, right?
Well, no.
No,
The
I'm
person
sorry.
I work with, yeah, the person I work with was sick.
Mhm.
I work hand in hand with. She was sick when I returned back on March 24th. And I sent her home, thank God, because
Mhm.
her test results didn't even come back yet. So this is so crazy. Like you were saying, you don't even know if you're working next to somebody who's
Mhm.
positive because they allow you to come back to work until you get your actual paperwork, which could take days and weeks. Especially when New York City was the epicenter at the time.
Y'all was
We
going off when that was happening.
Right. So we weren't getting you weren't getting no paperwork in a matter of days and hours. It took weeks to get this stuff. So she was allowed to come there for 10 hours a day, multiple days in a row. And the first day I returned back, I looked at her and was like, she's sick. Like, you could see it physically. You could see her face, her eyes. I'm like, she needs to go. I don't know what the
Mhm.
hell's going on here, but she needs to go. And that's my friend. So she listened. She was like, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
go. I'll cover her. We
Mhm.
work together. I'll cover you. Get out of here until you get your results back. Thank God I did that because 2 days later, she got her results back and they were positive. She was positive the whole entire time for weeks. She was positive. Don't know where she got it from. The
Mhm.
virus was literally migrating in the building. We got 5,000 employees that come in and out that building. 5,000 that live all over New York and New Jersey. And I'm like, y'all don't understand that this building needs to be closed immediately until y'all figure this shit out. They refused.
I mean, this is me like listening to you talk is me talking like no bullshit like a few weeks ago because it was the same thing where we had a person that was positive in the building and me and this dude actually had sat down and he didn't know he had it. He luckily was asymptomatic, but we had sat down and had like I worked a night shift and we had lunch but dinner whatever together watching Beverly Hills Cop 2. Right, like just
Wow.
chilling. And when I finally found out and totally on accident and brought it to management, they were like, oh well, we researched the video footage. I was like, no you didn't. You gonna tell me you researched that man's 8-hour shift every day for the last 2 weeks?
Exactly.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
You asked him some questions, he answered some questions, and you was good with that. Because if you would have known, you would have known that I was sitting next to him having lunch the other day. And they were like, "Oh well, yeah, there is no oh well."
No.
So that's what I'm saying. So I know exactly where you're coming from when it's like you got a person here that's sick, and you can't really fault the person because I don't know about y'all, but they wasn't paying us to stay home.
Nope, they wasn't. They offered unlimited unpaid time off. So
Yeah, there was like, oh, if you want to go get tested, they said if you want to get tested, you can, but we're not going to pay you while you wait for your results, and we're not going to help you if you get positive.
same thing they put us through. They only offered unlimited unpaid time off, or you can apply for this Amazon relief fund. So I applied, and I
Mm-hmm.
was denied because I didn't have the virus. And so that's all. That's the thing. It's like, okay, how do you apply for the Amazon relief fund, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
get approved unless you test positive?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I never got approved, and I had to stay home, unfortunately, unpaid because I didn't have the virus. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is ridiculous. The person I sent home
Mm-hmm.
uh, that was sick, unfortunately, her relative that she lived with died.
Wow.
from COVID, and it's like the company still, after messing up her pay for a number of weeks, there's no remorse. It's like
None.
whatever, no financial relief for the families and nothing, and it's just a sad situation, man. And this is why 6 months later,
Mm-hmm.
we're still continuing to fight. We're still continuing to go do these demonstrations and protests because workers are still emailing me on a day-to-day basis, and
Mm-hmm.
it's far from over.
So you're fighting to try to unionize?
Yeah, so I would say something similar. I
Mm-hmm.
want something employee driven,
Mm-hmm.
something where employees can negotiate a contract.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it has to be a union per se because, even unions sometimes don't take care of their workers.
Mm-hmm.
Not all unions are good. You have a select few. Y'all lucky to have the ILWU out there. Um, that's a prime example of what type of union that would be great to unionize
Mm-hmm.
this workforce. But unfortunately, with 600,000 people nationwide, not everybody gonna agree that you become a union. So what I'm trying to offer is an alternative where you can create an employee-driven rank and file committee, something like
Mm-hmm.
a democracy where you have a rank and file and negotiate their
Mm-hmm.
own contract and have their demands heard, not only heard, but read and listened to and actually obeyed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm working towards with my organization.
Mm-hmm.
So I named my organization the Congress of Essential Workers.
Ah, I like that.
The Congress of Essential Workers is basically what it says. Where with this workforce and with all essential workers, from no matter you work for Amazon, for any essential business that you work for, and we have enough workers' power, we'll have more
Mm-hmm.
power than Congress itself. So when
Mm-hmm.
the country, the government is saying, you guys are essential workers, you have to go to work. And we're not protected. There's no PPE, there's no mask, there's no sanitizers, there's no hazard pay or hero pay. We're going to be like, no, the hell we not. We're going to shut this shit down until you guys provide what we want.
Mm-hmm.
We need pay, we need protection, we
Mm-hmm.
need child care, we need Medicare, we need
Mm-hmm.
all these things before we go back to work. So that's where I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to a point where there's enough workers' power underneath my organization where we can go sit down at the table with Amazon or any essential business and be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, if you don't listen to our demands, then we will force a union on you. And they
Mm-hmm.
don't want that because they're anti-union. So we are being a
Very.
better leverage to offer this solution, this alternative solution.
Was it? Did you find it? Did you find it hard to like when you did the walk
I can't
off?
hear you for some reason.
Oh, can you hear me now? You got me now? Hello, hello, hey, hey. Hold on.
I can't hear you, bro.
Hey, can you hear me now? Can you hear
Can
me
you
all
hear me
right?
still?
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't hear you for some reason. Let me try to refresh it.
Can you hear me? Hey, hey. Nothing?
Oh, man.
Looks like there's some audio difficulties with the stream. Can you guys hear me out there? For the few that are listening. This is a great talk for me to hear Chris tell his story. I don't know if people listening know Chris's story, but for me, it's definitely a story of how the exploitation of labor gets to the point where finally people go, you know what? Fuck this. Like, I'm not dying for your billions. You're not going to give me pennies while you get billions. And that tends to be the case in these situations. And can you hear me now, Chris? Hey, hey. Oh, I guess. Oh, there he is. I can hear you just fine, man.
Yeah, yeah. I had to refresh it for some reason.
Got you. Uh, while you were gone, I was just talking real quick about how, like, in situations like these, we get exploited so much that eventually we go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm tired of making you billions and you give me these pennies. I was hearing somebody talk earlier today about kind of the exploitation of labor, and they were asking Starbucks employees, they were like, well, how much do you make in a day? And one dude was like $120. And they found out that that dude had made Starbucks in his first hour $1,500, and he
Wow,
worked like a 5 hour shift.
wow.
And it's like your labor already made your daily salary. Like, you're done. Like, everything else, once you got in there for the first 10-15 minutes, you had made back whatever they're paying on you. And you know you're going to slave away for $120, and they're going to give you some benefits and tell you that you got a flexible schedule or whatever bullshit they tell us, right, to keep cats still working.
Right, and yeah, I was just reading that comment. Not to derail, but for context, some of us can't work and live on the
The
crumbs
crumbs that
what
they
they
get.
get,
Yeah.
and I'm glad for the crumbs, honestly. Well, I'm not. I don't understand that. It's
it
2000.
yeah.
It's 2020. You're in the 21st century. And you want to get paid minimum wage, and you want to work multiple jobs with
Mm-mm.
no Medicare, and you can't even afford it. You can't even afford to take a vacation half the time. You have to work multiple jobs, or you got to be in a marriage, something, a
Mhm.
relationship.
Mhm.
Like, you shouldn't be subjected to that, and that's the mindset that everybody's with. Like, oh, this is how life is supposed to be. No, th- this man should not be making $4,000 a second, and you are struggling.
Mhm.
Literally, while we having this conversation, he's making $4,000 a second, and you're
Chilling.
talking about, being satisfied with crumbs. Like, no, that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
It's
Um,
also a mentality where people, I think, we're scared to ask for more because we are so far removed generationally from, like, strong worker unions.
yeah,
Our families are coming off the heels of, like, Hoffa and cats like that. That kind of So our folks might not look at unions the same way that their folks looked at unions. You know what I'm saying? So for us to work a non-union job is kind of like, yeah, that's what cats do. My area of Oakland is just as deindustrialized as New Jersey.
yep,
You
yep,
was here.
yeah. I seen it. Yep,
I'm sure there's
and I heard.
I'm sure that you drove down some streets in LA too and was like, "Oh, this reminds me of home." Because the same thing happens to me when I go back east.
Yeah, I actually didn't drive. I walked. I walked all over town just to get that
Hmm.
real feel. Like, that's just how I am. I walked. I went to local businesses by myself.
Hmm.
I don't travel with a huge entourage, and my entourage actually left me. I was by myself. They left. We were in LA for almost a month, and then They're
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, we gotta go back. So they left me. I went to Oakland by myself pretty much. I did have other members come out, but I
Mm-hmm.
most of the time I'm a loner. I like to just go out and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy things by myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely seen it for myself and heard from locals about what's going on over there um, in the Bay Area, especially with the stadiums they're trying to build and gentrification of
Yeah.
everything. So um, once again, going back to this, like we shouldn't feel comfortable or subjected to minimum wage and just the bare minimum. When you have these billionaires, these one percenters, it's only 800 of them
Mm-hmm.
worldwide, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a couple hundred in the United States. That's it, and only 12 of them, Jeff Bezos included, make up more wealth than the entire world. There's no way that you should feel like you don't deserve a piece of that pie as a worker or just as a citizen of the greatest country in the world. COVID-19 exposed that this country is not great at all. And this opportunity we have to fight,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm trying to utilize. I'm trying to be the catalyst or the vessel
Mm-hmm.
for that, because you have this opportunity where all these things have been exposed, things we already knew about, but the
Mm-hmm.
floodgates, were open once COVID came into play. Now, you got capitalism, you got racism, you got fascism, you got all these isms that are now public eye. Now it's like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
this is really what America is.
Mm-hmm.
America is a fucked up place. And if we don't do anything about it, you can't expect Jeff Bezos to be like, all right, you know what? I give up. I give up. I'm just gonna go and pack my own fucking boxes and items. And that's why I go so hard with trying to speak about what workers help workers get their stories heard, because right now today, um, I had to talk to a worker that Amazon denied her accommodation for her medical, uh, underlying condition, because she has diabetes and
Mm-hmm.
she taking the pills or whatever
Mm-hmm.
medication that
Mm-hmm.
causes her to go to the bathroom multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the company saying the manager told the accommodations team to tell this employee, "Oh, go find an office job."
Word.
How dare they? Like that's
Word.
the how you tell
Like,
somebody where they need to be working at. You're my employer. She's been there 3 years. She's invested into the company. She has a medical condition. She provided all the medical documents, her doctor as well. Accommodate this woman. All she's asking for is that, she may have to use the restroom a few more times than normal. So please don't, reprimand her for that. And y'all can't even do that. That's ridiculous. And these are the stories that you don't hear about. These are
mm-hmm.
stories that y'all will never know about unless with this platform for workers,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
distribute it to the public
Mm-hmm.
or the media. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I do. That's what I've been doing
Mm-hmm.
ever since I've been fired. Work has been coming to me.
Mm-hmm.
I try to help them, whether it's legally, whether it's cases like this where I have to get a journalist involved, get their story told, to put the company on notice for things like this. It's horrible what they do to people, and that's exploitation. That's capitalism at its finest.
At its
Yesterday,
finest.
yesterday I had one more example. Yesterday I
Mm-hmm.
had a tweet. I tweeted about Amazon. I tweeted to boycott the company for Prime Week, which is October 13th to the 20th. I
Mm-hmm.
said customers need to boycott and workers need to walk out during this week, because all they're trying to do is meet their quota from last year and beat that. That's what they care about. Prime Week was never a week long. As long as I've been with the company, it's always been 1 day, maybe 2 days. It's
Mm-hmm.
usually Prime Day. For those who don't know, Prime Day is the anniversary of Amazon. It's like their birthday. It's supposed to happen in July, but because of COVID, they pushed it back. Now they're
Mm-hmm.
only pushing it back because they want to sell stuff. They want to make money. They want to continue to make Jeff Bezos the richest man in the world. They're not going to jeopardize shit for that. They're ran completely off of metrics. They know how much they have to calculate to get this man this money that he needs to stay rich and
Mm-hmm.
stay, above his competitors. So they put a freeze on their employees in October. Now the freeze is a time freeze where you're not allowed to use your vacation time. You can't call out because they're on mandatory overtime. These only happen when it's the holiday
I was
season.
gonna say Christmas. I was assuming it'd be Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you put this on workers for Prime Week now? Not day.
Mm-hmm.
They changed it now. It's Prime Week. It's only because they're trying to profit. And they're trying to OD profit off of the expense of the workers.
Mm-hmm.
And they know by extending it for a week, they'll get enough sales to say, oh, we outsold what we did last year by 1 million something units and we made all this money. That's how they work. So yesterday I tweeted about that. A couple hours later, it was flagged. It didn't violate anything.
Wow.
So Amazon has been watching my page. That's obvious. They've been watching the stuff I post and tweet and whatever. So I had to remove this tweet. And I'm like, I looked at Twitter rules and I'm like, what did it violate?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So somehow, some way, somebody from the company got it flagged. I had to remove it. But I put that back out there. I threw it back. I said, you know what? Amazon just flagged me for this certain tweet and I screenshotted it and I put it back out there to the public. It went viral. And it's still trending right now. People are like, oh my gosh, they did this? So this is so much information that people don't know that I have to continue to get out there, because if I don't, who the hell else will? And that's the position I'm in.
Oh, that's a big position to be in, man. I mean, it's
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Are you? I know. I got you by a few years. Are you a Star Wars fan at all? Did you watch the movies growing up?
I did. You know, yeah, I definitely watched Star Wars. I'm not like a diehard fan, but my teachers was. So my teacher kind of like, she was a real. She probably was destined to be a teacher astronaut. Like, she was so into space. Man, we went to museums and we definitely watched Star Wars in class and everything. So
that's a badass teacher.
Yeah, she was one of my favorites. She was one of my favorites. I ain't gonna lie, you know. And it's crazy because I was just watching like that Netflix show about the Challenger, the spacecraft that blew up. So
yeah.
That reminded me of my teacher because she taught us about that in class back then. And we talk about the 90s. You know, back in the 90s, that's when we learned about the Challenger, but it happened in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, my mom was in school when that happened, and she told me about how they watched it on TV.
You're making me feel really old because so was I.
Oh, damn. But yeah. Yeah, man. So yeah, I definitely know about the Star Wars and all of that. For sure.
I had a guy on, and he wrote this book, and it's called Welcome to the Rebellion, A New Hope for Radical Politics. And basically, when George Lucas wrote Star Wars, he wrote it as the rebels, Luke Skywalker and all them, is supposed to be the Viet Cong during the Vietnam War. And the Empire is the United States. Ooh. And when he originally wrote that movie, that's what the story was. It is a small band of rebels taking on a technologically advanced empire and winning.
Right.
And I know you hear David. I'm sure you hear David and Goliath analogies all fucking day long.
Yeah.
I like the Star Wars analogy because we don't really have grand narratives on the left. We don't have these stories. On the right, they tell stories all the goddamn time. You hear Donald Trump tell some lie about Joe Biden being some kind of socialist and shit like that. But we don't get those narratives. Socialist. Yeah, damn it. Right. I wish. And using Star Wars as kind of this narrative. And so for the prequels that came out when you were a kid, the prequels that show like Darth Vader when he was a little boy, those George Lucas wrote those to show how a country turns into an authoritarian dictatorship.
Right.
So they're kind of boring to watch, and it's about taxes and trade agreements in the first one, but that's really what it's about. There's labor issues because there's slavery. If you watch Solo, interesting. It's an interesting concept. And when I think of your story, I definitely think of Luke blowing up the Death Star because Bezos is the emperor.
Right.
Can you be a better bad guy than fucking Jeff Bezos?
Right.
You know, he bought the Washington Post to control narratives about him and his company.
Right.
That tweet doesn't get pulled because middle management saw it.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
Exactly my point. And that's once again capitalism at its finest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the power and money behind that machine. Um, you know, I can't match it, but I need people's power.
Mm-hmm.
And when we come together, we can do some great things. And that's where we're getting to. We're trying to get there. It's going to be a long fight. It's going to be some trilogies involved. It's going to be a lot of. It's going to be a long. It'll probably be just as long as Star Wars has been out. You know, 10 years down the line, hopefully we can look back on this and be like, you know, I sparked this fuse and we battled and battled and battled. We got small victories. You know, I did get a VP to resign, Tim Bray. He resigned on May 1st. He stood in solidarity. So little by little, we're getting small victories, you know. And maybe, you know, we'll look back on all of this and one day we'll be like, you know, because of what happened, whatever I did or such and such did, this is the results. And we're in a better place, hopefully.
You blew up the Death Star. You're going to blow up the Death Star.
I'm trying to. I set up a guillotine in front of, you know, his mansion in Washington, and that it went viral. It got 7 million views. So
Jesus.
When I come to LA, I'm trying to do another demonstration similar to and try to get it out there. So that's the goal. You know, we're going to his biggest buy as a home, $165 million mansion in LA and Beverly Hills. So we're hoping that when we bring our workers out there to speak and tell their stories, we get just as much as media attention as we did in Washington a few weeks ago. So,
well,
that's the plan.
We are the rebellion. You know, Fred Hampton once told a crowd to repeat after him, "I am a revolutionary."
That's right.
And I definitely think that when I see you. Is there anything else you want to shout out or promote before we hang up?
No, just follow me on Twitter, _down Amazon. On Twitter, on Instagram, Chris.Smalls_. My website, tcoew.org. You can find our mission statement, our visions up there. You can get involved. Join us. When we do these demonstrations, city near you, we would love to have workers and bodies out there in solidarity.
So does that mean I'm invited to the next thing?
Hell yeah, man. When I come to Oakland, you know what time it is.
Say no more. I already told you got to come see the studio anyway. You got to see like some OG history and all that other stuff.
I'm down, man. I'm looking forward to it, man.
And the studio,
one reason.
The studio's already set up too, so you can come in there and we can get the fire mixtape that everybody's been waiting for.
Oh man, I might drop a hot 16.
You think the funny thing is you think I'm fucking with you, and I'm being totally serious.
I know you probably serious as hell.
I'm serious as hell.
You know what? And I'll be happy to drop a hot 16. If it works out, it works out.
Well, then just be ready. Then just be ready. I'm a hit up some hip hop homies that you might even know. I'll keep it quiet right now on air, and then when are you coming?
Well, I'll be in LA October 3rd, but
okay.
You know, I'm more than happy to extend my trip. I love California, and to be honest with you, you know, not for nothing, I do need a soundtrack for my movie, so that'd be great.
All you got to do, you think I'm fucking with you? I'm being totally serious. Come through. I'm gonna have just if you give me like a day or two notice, then I can make some phone calls and then we'll make some shit happen. I'm being totally serious.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's do it, man. We'll make it happen.
All right, brother.
Definitely look forward to seeing you, bro. And you know, just stay safe and we'll be in touch.
All right, thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and I'll let you know when this is up. All right, bro.
No doubt.
Peace.
All right, man. Peace.